Spiritual development and spiritual understanding have been the goals of great minds throughout all of human history. In every culture, society, and civilization, spiritual traditions have emerged and developed spontaneously without any external input or influence, often many thousands of miles apart. There seems to be within each person a desire to connect with something higher and greater than themselves. This inner drive seems to arise naturally and normally, often without any guidance or instruction. The great mystics and spiritual teachers of human history are those who have emerged to teach people how they can best satisfy this spiritual craving. The whole issue of spiritual development is complex and controversial. Each person who believes in a faith or a denomination is usually convinced that his or her ideas about God or a higher power are correct, and all others are wrong or misguided to some degree. The most terrible wars in human history have been religious wars fought over small differences in dogma, doctrine, or interpretation. Since most religions preach that God is a God of love, compassion, and understanding, it's sometimes amazing to look at what has been done and what continues to be done in the name of God. I've studied spiritual traditions for more than 30 years. I very much believe that spiritual development is the highest and most important form of development that a person can pursue. Rightly understood, spiritual development is the key to peace, prosperity, happiness, and personal fulfillment. About 325 BC, the philosopher Aristotle wrote his Nicomachean Ethics, one of history's finest explanations of the human condition. He begins with the observation that the common denominator of mankind is the desire to be happy. He concludes that the question of how to achieve this happiness is the fundamental question of philosophy. In 1895, Sigmund Freud of Vienna introduced his theory of psychoanalysis. His fundamental conclusion followed directly from Aristotle more than 3,000 years before. He called it the pleasure principle. Freud taught that human beings are motivated to move toward pleasure and to avoid pain, to move toward comfort and away from discomfort, physical, emotional, financial, or of any other kind. Modern economists and psychologists agree that every human action is stimulated by a felt dissatisfaction of some kind. Without this felt dissatisfaction, no action takes place. The individual remains content and satisfied. The primary driving forces of human behavior begin with discontent, dissatisfaction, discomfort, or unhappiness of some kind. Action takes place when the individual perceives a better state or condition where this unhappiness or discontent can be relieved. The individual then acts to achieve this goal. The action is either successful or unsuccessful. But all human behavior, from the beginning of man to today, is aimed at achieving a higher level of happiness than the one that currently exists. The highest human good is, and always has been, peace of mind. In fact, you can measure the success of your life at any given time by your level of happiness and peace of mind, by how good you feel about yourself and your world. Peace of mind is only possible when you feel completely satisfied and content inside. Peace of mind comes when you follow your intuition, your inner voice, and you do and say the things that feel exactly right for you. Now, no one can determine what will make another person happy. Because each person is unique, each person has different needs and desires, and is motivated by different goals and results. Each of us can only decide for ourselves what makes us happy personally. And each of us can only decide what makes us happy by listening to our inner voice and then by following its guidance and direction.